Hi everyone, it's Estella. This is part two of Respect and Relationships. Um, so the last slide that we covered was what is rape and sexual assault, and we're going to go back to um, these slides. So we're going to start at what is controlling behavior. If you haven't watched part one, please do so. Okay. Okay, what is controlling behavior? So I'm going to be using cue cards because my memory is really bad. Controlling behavior is how an individual attempts to strip the autonomy and the independence away from another individual. Examples of controlling behavior include frequent criticism, possessiveness, need for constant reassurance, breaking boundaries, and manipulation. Coercion is similar to controlling behavior. Coercion is the use of force to persuade someone to do something that they are unwilling to do. So, weaponized incompetence is a behavior where someone deliberately or even unconsciously acts poorly or demonstrates a lack of ability to perform a task, often to shift the responsibility or avoid doing it themselves. There is no such thing as a man's job or a woman's job. A job is a job. Isolation is a tactic that is controlling and extremely dangerous. No one should be isolating you from your friends and your family. Unfortunately, I've lost several friends when I was in a relationship with someone that was abusive and controlling. So bear with me, I'm just recovering from a cold, so if you do hear me coughing, sorry, I'm still recovering. What is gaslighting and love bombing? Gaslighting is an extremely effective form of emotional and psychological abuse. It can cause a victim to question their own feelings, instincts, and sanity. This can result in the victim's inability to trust their own perceptions, more likely to stay in an abusive relationship. Love bombing is an attempt to influence another person with over the top displays of affection and attention. It is another form of emotional and psychological abuse. Take your time to get to know someone to avoid love bombing. If you are in a situation where you think someone is consistently lying to you or potentially gaslighting you, I recommend to be stubborn, stand your ground, and make sure you have evidence to prove your point of view. What is harassment? Okay. Um, what is harassment? Harassment is behavior that is unwelcome or unsolicited, offensive, humiliating, or intimidating and relates to someone's personal attributes. Stalking can be considered harassment. Sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual behavior that could make a person feel offended, humiliated, or intimidated. Sexual harassment is against the law. Um, what are boundaries versus walls? Boundaries are the limits that individuals set for themselves and with others, defining what they are comfortable with and what they are not comfortable with. You need to communicate your boundaries with other people. For example, can you please stop doing that? I don't want to talk about this right now. Um, Issues in a relationship do need to be resolved eventually. This is regarding physical, emotional, and mental aspects within a relationship. Walls are defensive mechanisms that individuals can unconsciously uphold to protect themselves from emotional pain. It can come from past traumas or unresolved issues. These defenses prevent people from seeking genuine connection and intimacy. What is fight, flight, freeze, and fawning behavior? These are the body's natural stress responses to react to various threats or perceived dangers in the most effective way. The fight reaction in the body is the instinct to cope with a perceived threat aggressively. The freeze reaction is the body's way of shutting down, similar to an animal playing dead. The flight reaction is the body's urge to run away from the perceived threat. The fawning reaction is acting submissive or and or obedient in order to please and appease the needs of someone else, rather than prioritizing their own well-being. People with complex PTSD and PTSD experience these responses frequently. I have diagnosed complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Anyone that makes you feel or behave these ways regularly are not safe people to be around. If you are around any of them, anyone that makes you feel repeatedly this way or make you behave this way regularly, I suggest to avoid them as much as possible. How to navigate toxic and or abusive relationships. Hopefully you're not in this situation to deal with. I know some of you are. If you have an issue with someone, try to talk to them directly about it first. If you are continuously being disrespected, talk to someone that you can trust. I highly recommend talking to a therapist as well. This is my personal advice after dealing with abuse and violence for more than 2 decades. To be honest with you, I'm far from perfect. I have been abused and violent in the past as well. I try every day to be nice and to be the best version of myself, and I hope that you can all do the same. First of all, ask for help and advice. Please write or talk to trustworthy friends or family members. Speak to professionals, teachers, therapists, and police. People can't help you if they don't know what's going on. Do not tolerate abuse and violence. Please do not suffer in silence. Reporting will not only help you, but it will help others in the future because authorities can prevent dangerous people from harming other innocent people. It's important to learn about your wants and needs in a relationship. Be careful what information you reveal to others. Reveal the least amount of information to potential threatening people. Knowledge is power. The less information abusers know, the better. Never put your abuser as your emergency contact. Your emergency contact should be someone you can trust and rely on. Make sure to continue education and make sure you have work experience and savings in your own personal bank account. Everyone needs an education, everyone needs work experience, and everyone needs their own financial security and stability. Helpful phrases to tell oneself includes, I am worthy of love, I am capable, I am special, and I am enough. I don't deserve to be treated like this. Don't talk to me like that. This is a big deal for me. I don't like it when you do that. Stop. I'm not yours, I'm mine. Don't allow anyone to take parts of you or your life away from you. What I mean by that is don't change who you are to make someone else happy. And don't let anyone prevent you from completing your education and working and saving your own wealth. Coming from someone that has grown up with threats and death threats as a child and young adult, do not let abusers, violent people, and rapists get away with their crimes. There are many amazing people on this planet, but I am warning you that there are some horrible people on this planet that you need to steer clear from. Do not be naive. You were not born yesterday, so don't act like it. If you notice that someone, maybe a friend or a family member, is different from their usual self, have a chat with them. Ask them how they are, offer help, and point them in the right direction. Encourage therapy, and for them to speak to a professional. Advice regarding social media. You need to be really careful what you write and post on the internet. Social media is not really good for your mental and emotional health, and a lot of it is not real, especially with AI nowadays. I don't want any of you to be watching porn. You're too young. Unfortunately, fortunately, there is a new law under 16s banning social media. I actually advocated to the state government for social media to be banned. I wrote these slides several months before this law was passed. I've grown up with social media for half my childhood. I don't like it personally. When I was a child, social media was becoming more popular when I was in grade 6. I recommend having hobbies that are not screen related. There are a lot of positives to social media. You can connect with friends and family. However, you need to be advised that social media is designed to be addictive, manipulative, and emotionally triggering. If you would like the opportunity to delete any social media apps, you're welcome to do that now. Social media is not an accurate depiction of reality. It's not a reliable source of information. I recommend talking to experts, reading books, news articles, and scientific studies. Social media and the internet can be very misogynistic, misandrous, which means hating men, homophobic, and racist. A lot of content that people post online is not true. Hatred is never the solution to hatred. It's important to talk to different demographics. Be careful what information you reveal on the internet. What is uploaded on the internet never comes off the internet, even when it is deleted. It can be recorded, saved, and shared as well. Be wary of your reputation. For example, your career when you are posting on the internet. Do not post nudes. You are children. Even if you are 18, you're still too young. Seek advice from therapists and accredited professionals and not social media influencers. A lot of the time, these influencers are actually a terrible influence for impressionable youth. Advice regarding sex, drugs, and alcohol. I've never personally done drugs, but I don't judge if others do. I don't even take medication. I've got a traumatic relationship with both drugs and medication. My auntie died of heroin overdose when she was 22 years old, before I was born, and she never completed her degree in architecture. I've grown up with family members affected by drugs and alcohol. I've seen how these substance addictions can destroy people, their lives, and their relationships with others. You are children, you should not be drinking, having sex, or doing drugs. I know some of you are. I was a teenager back in the day. Honestly, I was having sex at 15. I don't regret it, but I advise against it. If you are having unprotected hetero sex, which you should not be, let me tell you, a baby is a blessing, but trust me, you do not want to be having a baby when you are a child yourself. So types of contraception include condoms, IUD, the pill, Implanon. That's what I can think of right now. So when you become adults, this is my advice. I just put that like so. Sex, drugs, and alcohol are not healthy coping mechanisms and can be addictions. Always organize sexual contraception before entering a relationship if you do not want a baby. Talk about contraception, conception, and any STIs before having sex. Remember that the only body you are entitled to is your own. Rape is never okay. Don't drink alcohol and do drugs around people you cannot trust and cannot rely on. Be careful choosing the person who you want to date. Who you date will affect your other aspects in your life, your health, your friends and family, your academic and work performance. Porn is not an accurate depiction of lovemaking, sex, and sexuality. Do not watch porn expecting this is what real sex looks like. Again, do not post nudes. You are children. Even if you are 18, you're still too young. Okay. Advice regarding reporting to the police. I will give you a warning. You need to be careful what you say and write to the police. I've grown up with police since I was 5 years old. I've known dozens of police officers for 20 years now. Most of the time, the police want to help you unless you break the law on a regular basis. Please report to the police if you've been hurt in any way. Never lie to the police. Inform these professionals of the worst behavior. Do not allow your bully, assaulter, or abuser to get away with their crimes. If you let your bully, assaulter, or abuser to get away with their crimes, they will continue to hurt others. When you report, professionals will be helping you and they can prevent these dangerous individuals from harming others in the future. Do not make threatening, abusive, or violent language to the police. You do not want to mess around with the police. Compile evidence into a better and further particulars. Document before reporting to the police, so including quotes, journaling, photos, video and audio recording, rape kits, etc. Adults know what they're doing. Adults know when they're being abusive or violent. They know when they're in the wrong. You must not tolerate being treated poorly. If you feel like you can't call 000, you can text and email police officers and police stations. If you do not want to interact with the police, I highly recommend legal aid. Legal aid is a free legal service. Communicating with the courts instead and or speaking to a lawyer. Man, this cough is so difficult to get over. Anyway, okay. Advice regarding safe driving. Cars are a method of transportation, but they are also weapons. Don't be stupid on the road. There's nothing cool about driving recklessly. Some of you will get into car crashes, some of you might be killed, and some of you might kill on the roads. I'm warning you now, you need to follow the road rules, whether you like it or not. Speeding does kill. In 2021, one of the guys from my high school year level died in a car crash. He would have been 20 years old. This is what happens when you drive unsafely. You can lose money, make others lose money, you can ruin people's livelihoods because their car is their livelihood. You can kill others on the road and you can get killed on the road. Again, a car is a weapon, is not a vehicle to mess around with. According to the Australian Automobile Association, a total of 1,332 people died on Australian roads in the 12-month period, 39 people more than the previous corresponding period. Pedestrian deaths rose by 23.2%, 207 fatalities, and cyclist deaths rose by 16.2%, 43 deaths. You need to think about others when you're driving. Always obey traffic rules on the road. Be considerate of others on the road. There are children and babies in other cars. This is a photo of my first car. I was not in the wrong. A stupid man in his 30s was reckless when he drove into me. Sorry doesn't cut it. This was an instant write-off, and I need to go to the hospital following this accident. 72 hours after the crash, once my adrenaline wore off, my back was in so much pain from the impact it was hard to move. Instead of driving recklessly, I recommend doing high adrenaline sports like skydiving or bungee jumping or even traveling or doing something fun with friends like escape rooms and go-karting. When I have a lot of adrenaline, which comes from my complex PTSD, and if I want to take out some anger, I go to the gym. Okay, personal advice. There's so much that I want to tell you all, but I've tried my best to summarize what I believe is the most important wisdom I can share. There's nothing wrong with being single. A lot of us have pressure and expectations to be in a relationship. Learn how to be independent and love yourself before dating someone else. Self-respect and dignity are important. Take yourself seriously and others will do the same. Don't rely on external validation. Choose your partner and friends wisely. Take your time to get to know someone. You become the people you surround yourself with. Get out of a relationship quickly. If it turns abusive and violent, your future partner may kill you or you may kill yourself. Don't stay with someone that continues to hurt you in any way. This sounds really cringe, but we need to work together. This is a mantra I have. I'm not above or below anyone, and no one is above or below me. Please pay attention to your subjects in school. The content and skills taught to you are very important for your futures. Your education is important and you need to take it seriously. If you want respect, give respect. If you want love, give love. Someone who genuinely loves you will want the best for you. If you want the benefits of a society, you have duties as a civilian. You need to look out for others. Please do not take your life. You are beautiful inside and out. You are unique and you have so much positive to bring to the world. I have attempted suicide in 2020 twice in one day. I resonate with his quote on the internet. I have vowed to never take my life because I refuse to let my enemies win. Finding multiple outlets to take your stress and anger out. For example, meditation, journaling, dancing, art, exercise, singing, or rapping. Not committing crimes. I cannot stress this enough. Coming from someone that has been taken advantage of multiple times, you need to trust your gut and follow your intuition. If a situation or person feels off, they probably are. The gastrointestinal tract has 200 to 600 million neurons that comprise the enteric nervous system. Seriously, if you get a bad vibe from someone, your gut is probably right. Listen to your emotions, don't bottle them up. I like this advice. I want to share it. You don't need to agree with all of it. That's fine. Go out into the world and do well, but most importantly, go out into the world and do good. Be authentically yourself. Wear what you want, eat what you want, spend time with who you want. Be stubborn with your morals. Always remember who you are. Do what makes you happy. Have an open mind. Don't judge people negatively. Use positive judgment instead. Be kind to others. You don't know what difficulties other people are going through. Be kind to animals. They're innocent most of the time. I've been vegan for 6 years now. I have to say that animals deserve to live long, happy, and healthy lives. I love going to the gym and I highly recommend it, especially for girls and women, to work on their strength and fitness. Strength and fitness can help with self defense if you find yourselves in an unsafe situation. I recommend martial arts as well for self defense. If any of you are curious, this is how I escaped my abusive and violent immediate family. What I went through in my childhood was horrific and torturous. I didn't trust my teachers and the police officers I grew up with, and I knew I didn't want to be a foster kid. I have disabilities and I couldn't physically speak growing up, and I didn't have the vocabulary to express myself. I'm giving you the vocabulary today so that you can learn how to speak up for yourself. Also, a lot of professionals I grew up with when I was a child were not great at their jobs. I was ignored and dismissed on many occasions. In high school, I went to the local library and I went to friends' houses to study and hang out with them. I recommend that if you need some time outside of your house. Um, yeah. My high school friends and their parents were supportive at the time, and I'm grateful for that. So at first, I asked for help. I never stopped asking for help. I did cry for help on numerous occasions. I empowered myself. I recommend empowerment. I destigmatized taboo issues. I educated myself. Education is very important. I reported to the police. I got a job and I kept jobs throughout high school. I saved as much as I could. I moved out and I moved away from my childhood area. I've blocked some people. I've kept some people blocked. I've been unlearning negative mindsets, negative behaviors. I've exited relationships before they became worse. I learned to love myself and look after myself, and now I've found better relationships that suit me. I'm strictly no contact with both my parents, and I want to be for the rest of my life. I don't recommend going no contact with someone unless they are really dangerous or a large threat to your health and well being. Everyone is different, every situation and relationship is different. Some people can change for the better over time, but a lot of people will not change. What works for me might not work for you. These are my recommendations. Noel Dezel is a great role model for young men. I hope that I can be a positive role model for young women in the audience. Dustin Pointer has some great videos talking about relationship dynamics. He's pretty funny. He talks a lot about red flags and green flags. The School of Life on YouTube has some fantastic videos on relationships and is very philosophical if you like philosophy. I love music, so I have to share my song recommendations. I wonder if I can move this over here. This way. There we go. Cool. When you have the chance, listen to Prayer by Lucas Mack, Me versus Me by Michael Seven, YourWorthIt.org by Dax and Hobson. The last song is explicit. Whether you're a singer or rapper or not, try singing and rapping to the lyrics. They're good affirmations. Movies are so fun to watch. These are some of my favorite movies. Maybe you can watch them in English classes to have some fun, and you can analyze these characters' relationships as well. I recommend Treasure Planet by Disney. This movie by Disney shows teamwork, a positive male role model as well, a father figure, trust, and growing up really well. Howl's Moving Castle by Studio Ghibli. This movie by Studio Ghibli shows love and control very well. Megamind by DreamWorks shows rejections and incels very well, along with good and bad behavior. It's a pretty funny movie. Reading is really important and it's good for your brain. I think you should tell your school to have these books in your school library. For the girls, I definitely recommend Things My Daughter Needs to Know by Dil Vinyasa. It's a great book that has changed my life and probably saved my life too. The Defining Decade by Dr. McJ. This will help you in your 20s a lot. Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. You need to get enough sleep. It's more important for your health than eating and exercise combined. And The Why by Isabel Cornish has very helpful strategies and has different healthy habits. Okay, resources. These slides are more serious. I need you all to take notes here. I highly recommend writing down this information as it may be helpful in the future. I have not used all of these resources, but they do look helpful. I've used some of these resources. I have been to prevention and recovery care when I was like 19, 20. I highly recommend that service. They're across Victoria. Park helped me quite a bit. There's Sexual Assault and Family Violence Centre. I've got the website here and I've got the number of the Sexual Assault Crisis Line. Um, okay. I've got the Safe Steps Family Violence Response Centre. I've added the phone number, I think. Prevention recovery care. So they're for people 16 to 24, sorry, 16 to 64 years old. If they're struggling with mental illness or any issues that are happening in their lives, I've added the website. I've been to one of these centers. They help a lot. That's back there. Okay. Refuge Victoria. I've added the website, the phone number, and the email address. Oh, that's where it is. Okay. 1-800-RESPECT is a counselling and support service. I've added the website, the phone numbers to call and text. Clearly, this cold has knocked it out of me. I'm not as organized as I was last video, but anyway. Here we go. Again, I highly recommend writing this information down as it might be helpful in the future. Take time to take some notes. Lifeline is a crisis support and suicide prevention service. It is 24 hours and I've added the phone number and the website. The Kids Helpline is for young people aged up to 25. It's 24 hours and I've added the phone number and the website. Men's Line Australia is a counselling service for men. So it's 24 hours and I've added the phone number and the website. To help men as well is the Victorian Brotherhood. I think that's a new one. Beyond Blue is a support service. I've added the phone number and the website. And the mental health crisis number for Victoria, I've added the phone number. Also Q Life for queer people or LGBTQI plus people that want to talk about their sexuality and gender and so on. You can call them on 1-800-184-527. So that's 1-800-184-527. I hope I said that correctly the first time. If serious bullying, abuse, or violence is occurring in your life, I urge you to go no contact when bullying, and then organize a personal safety intervention order or a family violence intervention order. You can either do this by talking to the police or your local magistrate's court. You don't always need to call 000 if you need police. You can email and text Victoria Police as well if you find that you can't physically speak or you don't feel comfortable speaking out loud. If you feel like your life is in danger, do call 000. I'm just saying that there is an option of texting and calling police as well. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for listening to my presentation and thank you for reading my presentation. I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to learn something that I think is really important. Thank you for tolerating me coughing every 2 seconds during this video. That wasn't planned, but yeah, anyway. Make sure to spend some time in your day or week to decompress after learning the content as quite intense and triggering at times. I wish you the best with your education. I wish you health, happiness, and I hope you all go far in life. And if any of you have any questions, feel free to ask. So this is a video, so if you have any questions, you can comment a comment. But then yeah, I would be presenting in person. So they would be asking me questions in person. Anyway, thank you.